this video we will discuss about the relationship between galectins and macrophages, how these galectins and macrophages are interrelated. So we will discuss the four examples. First one is M2 polarization, M1 polarization, inflammasome activation and phagocytosis. So let's start with M2 polarization. So what happens in the M2 polarization is that the galectin 3 helps in moving the cells towards this M2 polarization. So how this happens is, one of the approach is that this interleukin 10 will induce this phosphorylation of STAT3, and this phosphorylation will triggers the galectin 3 formations, and this galectin 3 will interact with the CD18 and it will trigger P13K phosphorylation, and that will divert help the cells to move towards this M2 polarization. And another in vitro approach, another in vitro evidence that has also been found out is via interleukin 4. Interleukin 4 will activate or helps in the production of this galectin 3 within the cells, and then galectin 3 will interact with the CD18 and then helps in the phosphorylation of P13K that will divert the cells towards M2 polarization. The next one is the M1 polarization. So what happens in the M1 polarization is this galectin 12, that is mostly or primarily find which is primarily intracellular galectins. So what it does is it helps in M1 polarization by inducing this by down regulating the signals from TLR4. So because of that, what happens is it will down regulate this IKK alpha, IKK B beta, AKT ERK signaling, and this will lead to the down regulation of nuclear factor kappa beta, and this in turn will helps the cells to move towards this M1 polarization. And next one is about this inflammation activation. So what happens in this case, the galectin 12s, it is not mentioned here, the galectin 12s galectin 12 interacts with this NLRP3, and that helps in the forming a complex with caspase 1 ASC, and this complex will trigger this interleukin beta cytokine formation with the help of this by activating this pro interleukin 1 beta, and this in turn will interleukin 1 beta will trigger this inflammation activation. So this is how galectin 12 interacts helps in this inflammation activation via interleukin 1 beta. The last one is about phagocytosis. So what happens in this case is that this one is galectin 3, that is not shown here, not labeled here. So this galectin 3 and galectin 9, both of them helps in rearrangement of this actin. As we can see here, the galectin 3 helps with the help of this cofilin, and this cofilin will helps in rearrangement of actin, and that helps in the phagocytosis of the cells. And how this galectin 9 will act, galectin 9 will directly interacts with the actin, and that helps in the actin rearrangement, and in a way that it supports the phagocytosis of the cells. So in this way, the galectin 9 and galectin 3 helps in the phagocytosis of the cells. So these are some of the interactions of the galectins that will help the immune system that will help the immune system in a way that triggers the macrophages towards a particular direction. That is, galectin 3 will promote towards M2 polarization, galectin 12 will promote towards M1 polarization, galectin 9 and galectin 3 helps in the phagocytosis, and this galectin 12 helps towards inflammation, inflammasome activation. And if you need to understand about this relationship between galectins and macrophages in detail, you can go through the reference that has been provided in the description. That's all for this video. Thank you for your time.